Sp4zie and plenty.
Hello, YouTube! I felt like singing it today. Sp4zie coming right at you with another champion preview. Today we're taking a look at KINDRED, or Lamb, and Wolf. What are they called? The Eternal Spirits Hunters, something like that. Primarily set to be like a jungling marksman, which is, you know, interesting to say the least. There's a lot of cool new abilities and tricks with this one. And like with every preview, my job here is to sort of like explain these abilities as simply as possible to you guys, as straightforward as I can, so you get a grasp of how this character works before it comes out. Remember, it's PvE, some things might change, and with that said, let's dive right into it. Let's start talking about the passive. It's called Mark of the Kindred. So first, the straightforward bit. This passive will mark different targets on the map, and if you get a kill or assist on that target, you will permanently gain a percentage of their current health as bonus physical damage. And this has no cap, so this is like a very big scaling thing that both you and your team should be structured to play around in order to make sure that Kindred gets to the late game she or he or it needs. Is it it? Let's go with it. So how do you get a marked target? Well, you can choose to actively mark one of the enemy champions by clicking on the little hotbar that you can sort of toggle underneath the passive. You don't have to be near them, you don't have to do anything like that. You can just click them and they're marked. The person that you've marked will see the mark, so they'll know that you marked them. There is a pretty long cooldown to switch marks. I think it felt like a minute or so. And after you've killed that marked target, there is a 4-minute cooldown until you can mark and kill that target again. And that means that you can't, you know, snowball off of a single lane. Let's say you kill the top laner, you can't just go straight back up there because the summoners are down and just keep killing them to rack up that bonus damage. That is how you killed marked champions in order to get the bonus AD. Now you can also do it on jungling monsters. Here, however, you do not choose. It randomly selects a camp in the enemy jungle, or if you're lucky, the scuttle crab, that you can go to kill in order to proc this passive. I think even if that camp is killed by the jungler, the mark will stay, so you can just go back there when it respawns. Important to note here is that the enemy team will also see on the minimap where your current marked monster is. So they really want this to become sort of a mini objective to create fights around. And this passive has a lot of late game scaling, which is, you know, what you'll need as an ADC in the jungle to hit that late game. And a part of winning the game versus Kindred is going to be to not allow it to get to that late game. So this sort of like makes sense from a design standpoint, and it's very interesting to say the least. One final very important note is that I noticed that the jungling monsters stopped being marked after a certain point in the game. I read somewhere that it was like around 6 stacks or something of the passive. So once you get to mid or late game, you're gonna get the stacks from killing champions. Whew. And that said, let's move on to the little bit more straightforward ability, the Q. It is called Dance of Arrows. It is a small utility spell where you jump and fire 3 arrows at nearby enemies. From my experience, it doesn't prioritize champions. It deals physical damage, and if you cast your W, the cooldown of this will be reduced to 2 seconds, so you can jump around a lot. A little bit of AoE for clearing camps, a little bit of utility for dodging spells, and that's all there is to it. W is called Wolf's Frenzy. It has a passive and an active. The passive is that when you move around, you build up stacks. It's very much like a static shiv in that sense. Once you reach 100 stacks, your next basic attack will drain health from your target. So it's a little bit of extra damage, and it's most importantly some sustain while in the jungle. It also has synergy with your Q, not only because of this, but because of the active as well. Now, when you activate this ability, Wolf, which is the sort of like darker worm-like spirit around you, will start attacking a target for 8 seconds. He'll deal physical damage, and you can sort of redirect him by auto-attacking another target, and your Q will be reduced to 2-second cooldown when you're in the area of effect here. Speaking of the area of effect, if you leave it, Wolf will stop attacking, so you sort of have to be in the vicinity for him to deal his damage. The E is called Mounting Dread, and it's a targetable ability that slows the target you click on. Now, after you've done that, the third attack on that target will deal a nice chunk of physical damage, which is based off of the target's maximum health. So, you know, nice versus monsters in the jungle, and also nice versus big, beefy tanks. Last but certainly not least, Lamb's Respite. It's the R, it's the ultimate. You click this on a friendly champion, so you can click it on yourself, and then you create an area around that target where, quote, no living thing can die. If a target within the circle reaches 10% health, it becomes immune to any further damage or healing. So it becomes kind of Zonyad in a way. Now, when the effect ends, all things inside will get healed. So some clarifications is needed here. By all things, they mean like, you know, friendly allies, enemy champions, minions, and monsters. So like you could put this down in order to stall a Baron and, you know, get the jungler there for a steal. You could put this down to clutchly save someone who's getting caught. Can you say that? Clutchly? I think so. And most importantly, you can completely derp a team fight by putting this down, saving 3 enemy champions. That's something that you could do. Bard just got himself a worthy troll opponent. There you go, kids. So there you have it. That's Kindred in a nutshell. Very interesting. I like how they sort of solved the problem of an ADC not really scaling well in the jungle. I am not too sure about the ultimate. It sort of doesn't seem to fit a damage-dealing champion, but hey, I mean, they certainly are mixing it up, so that's good. If you have any questions about the champion abilities, post them in the comments below. If I don't get to them, one of my very well-educated viewers will. Make sure you subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. I release 3 videos a week. Almost all of it is League of Legends related. You'll love it. And that's gonna be it. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Wednesday. And this has been Sp4zie, and I am out.